Given the just stratospheric entrance of Vice President Kamala Harris into the presidential campaign, and she has now secured enough delegates to become the nominee, you're going to look real crazy being on the other side of that line, particularly as a person of color, but really as anyone who claims to have any connection to the culture. You're going to look real weird and real lonely on that side.
What? Okay, let's dive into this, because this is crazy. Let's go. What's up, y'all? Man, it's Jonathan Owens here. Another episode of The Word Spoken. Let's dive right into this. Now, the crazy thing when you see in a clip such like this is because how can you sit there and say that you on the wrong side or whatever you try to put it if you don't vote this way? You know this guilt tripping stuff that people do, and it's like, man, can I just do the things that I want to do? Can I just vote? Can I just everything is heightened right now. But you have people like this, Joy. I'm like, to say something like this, it's like, what are you talking about? You've been voting that way for the same for how long? You stood in the same boat, and black people are still in the same boat. This is not about going from left to right. It's just that if you see something ain't working for you, just switch it up. But then people like this will guilt trip you and say, oh, you gotta vote for this person just because they black. They did the same thing about Obama, and look, people are still in the same boat. And they say, oh, we vote for him just because he's black, and now you're in the same boat as you were, 12 years ago, however long ago. So it's like, you can't come at people with that guilt trip stuff. So when people say the black vote, what are they trying to get at? Because the black vote is the term. Let's dive into this. So the term black vote is in itself is an insult, because that automatically is painting us as black people as one broad stroke. You know what this term black vote, you know what this term does? It makes people like Joe Biden be comfortable to say this.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact
that's when you keep saying black vote, you got the black vote, you can't win the black vote, or the black vote we need the black vote, and all these things. Like, when you keep speaking of it in that regard, it makes people like Biden say stuff like that. And that's a shame, because that means y'all don't know how to think for yourself. Don't get out of line, boy. That means it takes people right back to the racist days, because like, don't get out of line, boy. You got to stay in your lane, stay in the same, stay in this lane, because if you get outside this lane, you're thinking for yourself now. Like, I don't get how black people, we as black we don't see it. And it's so crazy. And you know what else? I was talking to this too about my wife, because my wife had made a great statement and phrase. I told her I'm gonna use this phrase because it was good. She said, we have become our own slave masters. What does that mean? It's like people came from slavery, and it's like whatever the case may be, and they blame the white man for everything. But we have now become our own slave masters, meaning now we tell other black people how to think and then shame them for using their independent mind. So think about it. The reason why Joe Biden can say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, is because we have allowed him to take part of black people becoming our own slave masters. Because we have now shamed other people for using their independent mind, and we'll say things like Joy Reid has said, oh, you're going to be on the wrong side if you don't vote this way. I'm like, what in the world are you even talking about? It's stuff like that emboldens that man to say that. Now, this doesn't mean go to the other side. It doesn't mean go to what Trump says in his different crazy rhetoric. But what it does mean is that how can you still continue to go to somebody who's letting you know who they are, and you vote for them anyway? They let you know how we feel about you truly as black people, but we still ain't finna do nothing about it. So that's why the black vote is an insult, because it says you can't think for yourself. But this is what happens. But what does God have to say? Because that's what it's all about. That's what it's always about. Now, race was an issue in the Bible, but God dealt with that thing so beautifully, and now it's done, because race itself is still obviously present, but the issue has already been settled, because God's settling it. And when He settles something from heaven, it is done. Now, this is talking about salvation in Christ, and the Jews and the Gentiles, which Jews were Jews and Gentiles were every other race other than Jews. So, look at this. Ephesians chapter 2, start at 13th verse. It says, "But now, in Christ Jesus, you who once were far off have been brought near by the blood of Christ," which are us Gentiles. "For He Himself is our peace, who has made us both one, Jews and Gentiles, has broken down in His flesh the dividing wall of hostility by abolishing the law of commandments expressed in ordinance, that He might create in Himself one new man in place of the two, so making peace, and might reconcile us both to God in one body through the cross, thereby killing the hostility." What He's saying, killing the hostility between Jews and Gentiles. So He's like, I have united everybody in Christ. All that other mess can be squashed, because I have already killed the hostility, because in Christ all y'all the same. In Christ there ain't no this, there ain't no that. It's just you my believer, you my child, that's it. And you know, Peter goes deeper. He's Acts 10 and 34 and 35. Now this is crucial, because this is when Peter had baptized, or was getting ready to, and I believe already had baptized Cornelius and his own family, a Roman soldier, and everybody was tripping out. Jews were tripping out that he did this. And Peter was explaining to him, like, man, I saw a vision from the Lord. This is what God told me to do. And he's like, yo, this is what God is saying. So 34, Acts chapter 10. So Peter opened his mouth and said, "Truly I understand that God shows no partiality, but in every nation, whoever fears Him and does what is right is acceptable to Him." Peter slam dunks this and says, truly, I'm telling y'all, God shows no partiality, but in every nation, meaning like with every nation, meaning nations are other races of people in other nations, and there's usually other races. The nation of this country, the nation of this country, there's usually other races in those other countries. So Peter is saying, regardless of what nation you with, and part of what race you are, because he had baptized a Roman soldier. He's like, regardless of any of that, whoever fears Him and does what is right is acceptable to Him. So regardless of what race you are, you doing what's right in the eyes of the Lord, you good. So this is how the Bible settles all of this. So when we keep saying black vote, people say, oh man, we ain't trying to go that deep. We ain't trying to get into all that. We just saying black vote because black people be voting, and we supposed to be so solidarity. And I'm like, hold up, your solidarity is not the solidarity that you trying to say, and your solidarity should never be in the sense of something as crucial as like a vote. What do I mean? It's because your solidarity comes naturally by you just being black and automatically being able to relate to things. I can relate to other black people about culture because I grew up in the same culture. That has nothing to do with voting. That has everything just to do with relatability, and we are in the same culture. We went through the same things a lot of the time, but that has nothing to do with voting. Voting requires mental state, like knowing ins and out of who people are, like Christian values, morality. It has nothing to do with our culture and where we grew up and how I can relate to you. This has everything to do with what does God say, what is moral, what is righteous, and who is best going to align with that. It has nothing to do with that. So the black vote, saying black vote this, especially people like that, what she said, Joy Reid, like it's an insult. It's an insult to do this because it's Like, why you insulting my intelligence? If I thought this way over here, what does that mean? I ain't black no more? That's the connotation. So let's stop saying it like that, and let's just say some black people vote this way, some black people vote that way. Same way we say with every other race. That's how it should be. Now, I'll see y'all next time, man. Hope y'all enjoyed this discussion. Subscribe and like, and I'll see you next time, Lord's willing. Peace.